dehydrators. And I know one of the silent auction items is a dehydrator, but we've got a whole lot of other really great stuff, so check it out. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you a very dear friend of mine. She has been a student here at Living Light, so she's an associate chef graduate, and just a really wonderful woman that has a lot of information to share. And she has turned me on to this beautiful world of essential oils that I'm so grateful for, and we've started using them in our recipes and we absolutely love them. So I asked her to come here and share the information with you. I'm going to take it in myself. Amy Bacheller has almost 20 years of experience in alternative health modalities, which make up her Scent from Heaven holistic healing practices. Amy is certified in aromatherapy, nutritional counseling, guided imagery, body work, energetic healing, and raw foods. She's certified, as I said, as an associate raw food chef and instructor here at Living Light, and she just has a world of knowledge to share with all of us. So I'm really, really grateful that you're here today, and I hope that you all will help me welcome Amy Bacheller. There we go.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, welcome. So those of you in the back, you may want to come forward because we're going to be sniffing oils. So whatever you're comfortable with. So Sherry, thank you so much for that introduction. I am so thrilled and honored to be here. And thank you all for being here and partaking of this amazing expo. So I'd like to find out how many of you have any experience with raw foods, even if you've just done a salad. Okay, so that's just about everybody. Okay, and how about how many of you have had any experience with essential oils before? Okay, so some. Okay, excellent. All right, well, again, thank you so much for being here. I have a sheet that I'm going to pass out. You can take notes on it if you want. What we're going to do today is talk a little bit about what aromatherapy is, the essential oils of aromatherapy. The oils that I use are from a company called Young Living Essential Oils, so we're going to talk a little bit about what is Young Living and why use those oils. I'll give you a little bit of my story of how I got to be standing here in front of you today. And then we'll talk about how to combine the essential oils with raw foods and why to do that. And the reason is because it's amazingly magical, wonderful, and so fun. So I'm going to pass these sheets out. And those are just for you to have the information to take with you. So in looking at the essential oils, they are the tools of aromatherapy, which is the healing modality. Aromatherapy and the essential oils have been used as a healing modality for thousands and thousands and thousands of years on the planet. All of the oils come from plants. So you've all heard of peppermint, lemon, lavender. Those may be essential oils that you're familiar with. They all come from plants, and they're either from the root, the bark, the leaf, the flower, the fruit, some part of the plant. All of the oils are oxygenating. All of the oils are anti-inflammatory to some extent. All of the oils are antimicrobial to some extent. But each individual oil has its own specific actions that it's known for. And I have more. Do we need more? Yes. Yes. Glenn? This is my husband, my handy assistant. Here for that purpose. Okay, so the oils they're proven. They've stood the test of time. They've been documented to have been in use for 6,000 years. I'd say that pretty much passes the test of time. And they're used in, if you go to France, there are medical doctors there who do not use pharmaceutical meds whatsoever. They only use essential oils. So all of their prescriptions are with essential oils, no pharmaceutical meds whatsoever. So the oils are, I call them a multi-dimensional healing tool because they work on all levels. They work on the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental. So they're really a multidimensional healing tool. If you're using, let's say you're taking a pharmaceutical med for like a headache. So those meds are going to go into your body and be laser beam targeted for one specific thing. They either turn something off, they turn something on. They generally are processed through the liver. There's usually side effects and some sort of toxicity. And if you watch the commercials for drug ads, I always feel like I'm watching a Saturday Night Live skit. You know, if you take this, you may experience blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so with the oils, they work in harmony with the body. They remind the body of its own innate healing ability. Our bodies have a huge amount of wisdom, and the oils work in the plant. The oils are similar to our blood. So they carry oxygen, they help with wound healing, they help with the immune system. So our bodies recognize the oils as a natural healing tool, and they work in synergy with us. So the raw foods are all plants, and the oils are all plants. So we're going to be talking more and more about putting the two together and why they work together so well. But when you use the oils, there's no toxicity, they're not stored in the body, there are no side effects. So they work in harmony with the body, they're easy to use, they're really fun to use, they smell good, and they work. And people are always asking me, like, is there an oil for such and such? And the answer is yes, there's an oil for everything, absolutely. For anything you could possibly imagine. Come on in and have a seat. There's some chairs up here, too. Oh, we're filling in. Okay, so, and if people have any questions along the way, please, like, raise your hand and just let me know, and we'll have time at the end for questions. Also, just so you know, I will be here all weekend. So if you have questions, if you have anything specific to you that you want to talk about, not in a group, feel free to come and ask me. Just grab me anywhere along the line. And afterwards, I will be downstairs. There's like an author table place down by the marketplace. So I'll be down there for a while, and I'll have oils that you can come and sniff and play with, and I'll have some other things that you can hand out, that I can hand out that you can take home. Okay? Some brochures. So let's look a little bit at how to use the oils. You can simply inhale them. That's a really powerful way to use them. And when you're inhaling them, they're going through your nasal cavity, up into your brain. Into the back of the brain is the amygdala, which is the oldest part of the brain. And it's also where we store emotion. So a lot of times people will smell the oils and say, oh, this reminds me of this, or all sorts of memories may come up. We are going to pass some oils around for you to smell. I want you to pay attention to how you feel when you smell the oils, because everybody reacts differently to them. You may smell some that you really like. You may smell some that you feel like, oh, how did I live my life without this? You've just come home to something. That's what I call the melt me response. And usually when people get that, they get these big goofy grins on their face, and their eyes kind of light up, and it's very fun. And then there may be some oils that you don't like at all, and that's what I call put the cap on that and get it away as fast as possible. You can also use these oils with kids and animals, babies. Animals generally do really well with the oils. Just go slowly with cats, and that's like, cats could be a whole nother day-long subject, but just know that all ages, all animals, you can use the oils with. All right, so I want to talk a little bit. So any questions there? Okay, I'll just keep going. As my husband said, just pull the cord and turn me on. All right, so I'd like to talk a little bit about how I got into all of this. So I've been a vegetarian since 1972, when I went to India as an AFS student and lived with a vegetarian family. I was still in high school. I came home and my father said, okay, if you're going to do this, you need to know what you're doing. You need to make your own food because we're not going to stress your mother out over this. And you need to go to the doctor every year so we know that you're not going to die of lack of protein or something like that. So I just started reading, studied. That was Adele Davis at that point. This was a long time ago. So anyway, I'm sort of dating myself. So that really was the start of all of this. Then in around 1990, and at that point I was living on the East Coast. Around 1990, I had a lot of little health issues that were all kind of adding up to be bigger, but nothing life-threatening, but just feeling like something's not quite right here, I need to do something. So I went to a holistic nutritionist in the Boston area, Mark Mincola. And I knew about Mark for a long time, and it took me 3 years to get my courage up to go to him because I knew he would take me off of dairy, wheat, sugar, all fermented foods, all the things that I really like. So at that point, I went completely, totally vegan. And prior to that, when I went vegetarian, that was more, I'd say, for ethical reasons, sort of ethical, spiritual, humanitarian reasons, compassion for animals, that sort of thing. When I did the vegan, that was all for health reasons. I was a cheese addict. I mean, when I was in college, my mom would send me wheels of Jarlsberg, and people would come up to my dorm room and just cut off chunks of cheese. Those days are long gone. This guy's shaking his head like, how is she alive right now? Yeah, but anyway, I am, and there is life after dairy and after wheat and all of that. So, so going vegan, that was more for health reasons. And I remember when I started going to visit my parents and my father saying, well, when are you going to be able to eat table food again? And then about 6 months later, when all my health issues had cleared up and I was feeling like so much better, and the same man, my father, was saying, this is a miracle. So through that whole experience, I really saw the power of food as a healing tool, and that just connecting with food in a completely different way. So that then started me on my holistic healing path. We moved to California. I started with nutritional counseling. As Sherry said, she went through all the things that I've been certified in. So I've put all of that together and say that I do transformational healing work. Now, I started with nutrition, and then we were in Westlake Village, and then we moved up to Mill Valley. And at that point, I was asking out to the universe, what can I add to my practice to make it more profound, more meaningful, different than everybody else that's out there? Because I don't know if you're all aware that Marin County is like where everything comes onto the planet and then disperses out to the rest of the world. It's like you go to Marin, you could study some sort of healing energy work every week for the rest of your life. It's just amazing there. So part of me was like a kid in a candy store, and part of me was terrified of, how am I going to do this here? But so very shortly after that, I met the oils, and I had, I mentioned the Melt Me experience. I had the Melt Me experience with every single oil. It's like I just felt that I had come home to something that was answering all my questions. So I started using the oils with myself, with my family, with my friends, and then with my clients, and started getting great results and realizing there's something really powerful here. These again are from a company called Young Living Essential Oils. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, I don't know what this company is. The founder, his name is Gary Young. He's got his own whole healing story. He's an amazing visionary, an amazing healer, this brilliant, brilliant man. So I decided I had to go meet him. And I was lucky enough to be able to go to a conference in Canada and be one of 2 Americans where Gary was speaking. So I got to spend one-on-one time with him and realize that here's a man who's really teaching from his heart, speaking from his heart. He's more interested in healing the planet than how much money can he get from doing this. And I was just sold. I fell in love with the oils, with Gary, with all of it. And one of my friends from those days is here, and she's grinning because she feels the same way. So anyway, and thank you for being here. Okay, so I was, in Mill Valley doing my healing work, and then we, for all sorts of reasons, moved back to the East Coast. And I opened a holistic center. We had lots of teachers and a store and practitioners and all sorts of things. And be careful when you put questions out to the universe, because one of my questions was, how can I, this was about 2 or 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago, how can I go to the next level for me? How can I have and hold more energy so that I can be a better service? How can I have and hold more light? So I just started getting taps on the shoulder from the universe about, think about going raw, think about going raw. And part of me was, oh, no, that's too fanatical. I know way too many people who are doing that. They're crazy. I don't want to do that. They're all like measuring their food and checking the temperatures and all this stuff. So it just kept bumping into me and bumping into me and bumping into me. And one of the women who was teaching at my center, she was doing a crystal workshop for the weekend and arrived at my house with her Excalibur dehydrator. And by day she was teaching about crystals, and by night she was teaching me how to go raw. And so it was pretty funny. So a little over 2 years ago, I decided I'd try it for the weekend, and then just kind of went from there, and then found Living Light, and so here we are. But along the way, as I started into raw, I've always been interested in food. I've always been teaching cooking classes, teaching people about food, teaching shopping classes and attending cooking classes and all of that. But when I was in the cooked food world, I never considered putting the oils together with the food. I did a little bit, but never to this big extent. And I've been using these oils for 12 years. I've been certified in aromatherapy for that long. So the raw food world and the essential oils, it was one of those, you could have had a V8, that commercial, duh, I could have had a V8. I could have been putting the oils in foods all these years. There's something just so magical and so profound about combining the two. So the raw food has its own really high frequency. Most of you have experienced it to some extent. It's a powerful high frequency food. And as we're preparing the raw foods, we're interacting with it, we're smelling them. The raw foods are so beautiful, all the produce. And we're literally ingesting sun. So when David Wolfe calls it sun food, it's like before I went raw, every time I sat down to meditate, I was getting all these meditations about photosynthesis and plants and sun energy, and then it all kind of came together. So the essential oils are the same thing, but concentrated. So they are a concentrated form of the plants that we're eating. So they're steam distilled, and with Young Living, they are more interested in getting the therapeutic quality out of the oils than the commercial, let's just get these done and in the bottle and out the door. Companies that do it that way, they may be using high heat, high pressure in their distillation process, so the oils are actually like burned, and you've lost the therapeutic quality. A lot of the oils that are out there are synthetically altered. They could be adulterated, diluted. They could be synthetically made in a lab, and then something smells like lavender, but it doesn't have the actions of lavender. So when we're talking about putting these oils ingesting them in your body, be really careful with what you're using. I'm familiar with Young Living. I know that these are pure, these are therapeutic grade, these are organic, you can take them internally. Don't go to a health food store and buy some other brand and use those, okay? All right, so with the oils, they are a very high frequency in and of themselves. So when you add them to the raw food, you're enhancing the raw food, and you're also adding this amazing flavor dynamic. So has anyone here taken classes at Living Light? Okay, so some of you. Okay, or raw food classes in general. Okay, so I know Sherry talks a lot about flavor dynamics and flavor blending and the power of all of that, the oils bring a completely, totally different dynamic, a different dimension to the foods. And it takes the alchemy of raw foods to like a whole nother level. And so as you're working with them, you're then smelling them, you're ingesting them, you're getting the oils into you, onto you, you're breathing them, taking them internally, you might get them on your hands. So that's all good. When you're doing that, when you're using the oils, you're boosting your frequency, you're boosting your immune system, you're boosting your energy. When people use the oils on a consistent daily basis, they come back to me over time and I hear over and over again, I feel happier, I have more energy, I'm sleeping better, I'm more stress hardy, nothing bothers me anymore, my kids are sleeping, my dogs are better, like just so many things. And a lot of that are also the benefits that you hear when people go into raw foods. So put the two together and it just gets better, better, and better. All right, I'm taking a drink. Any questions, thoughts, comments? Mm-hmm. Okay, great question. So she had asked if there are any contraindications, dangers, or misuse. You can overdo anything. You can overeat broccoli. So you want to go slowly. These are powerful. So when you're adding them to your food or adding them to your water, start with 1 drop. You don't need a whole bottle. They're really powerful. So just start with 1 drop and then go from there. If an oil is bothersome to you, like some of the oils, we're going to talk a little bit about cinnamon. Cinnamon is a hot, spicy oil because it's a hot, spicy spice. So if, let's say, it gets on your skin and it feels uncomfortable, I once got cinnamon in my eye. Don't use water. That's going to be automatically, you're going to want to use water. Water drives the oils in deeper. The oils are hydrophobic. So instead, use olive oil, use a mixing oil, a massage oil, something like that, and then just wipe it or wipe your eye, and it'll take care of it immediately. Okay? So just go slowly. And I think the most important thing is to listen to your body. And you all know as you're working more and more with raw foods, you get so much more in tune with your body and what your body needs and what your body wants and how much to eat or not eat. And so just listen. And you may, you could be eating bananas 5 days in a row, and on day 6 you're thinking, I don't want bananas today. It's the same thing with the oils. You may be using peppermint every single day thinking this is the greatest thing on the planet. And then like a week later, you don't want to touch peppermint. So just listen to that. Pay attention to that. Does that answer your question pretty much? Okay. And there, yes?
Now, would this be a silly question or not? Are these
No.
oils acid or alkaline?
Alkaline, because they're plants. So she asked if they're acid or alkaline. I would say alkaline. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I have a golden retriever that really panics when it's thundering outside. Can you recommend a calming oil for her, and how would I administer it?
Okay, so a calming oil, and we're going to take, I think there was a question back there, and then we're going to get back. A calming oil for a dog who's freaking out over thunderstorms. So this could be anybody that's got anxiety.
Yeah.
So you could start with lavender. Lavender is, I'm going to pass this lavender around. So just smell it. This is going to be a strong lavender. It's a strong lavender. So you want to hold it down and bring it up to your nose and inhale it and then pass it on to the next person. Okay? And we'll just pass it all around and bring it back up here. So lavender is really calming and relaxing. This is also one of the culinary oils. I know Sherry Soria of Living Light has done some recipes with lavender in it, and I know out at the Whole Foods has some lavender shortbread cookies or different things like that. So I haven't used lavender in culinary, in creating foods yet, but it's definitely a culinary oil. So for a dog, a great place to apply the oils is on the ears. Also with us, a great place to apply the oils is on the ears. So you could start with lavender. It's calming, it's relaxing. Lavender is also considered a universal oil. So if you're in doubt about what to use, go with lavender. Lavender is great for sleep. It's great for hormonal balance. It's also the #1 oil for burns. So sunburn, a burn in the, you're not using your heated things anymore if you're doing all raw, but if you get a cut or a burn of any kind, you can put lavender directly on it, and it will help to heal it, stop the bleeding, and take out the pain and the inflammation and the swelling and that sort of thing. Okay? So another blend that you could try for stress. So lavender is a single oil. In Young Living, there are also blends. There's one called Peace and Calming. I'm not going to pass this around, but this will be up here later if you want to sniff them, or downstairs. This is like a starter kit. This is called the Everyday Oils. This is a great place to start. There are some culinary oils in here, and I'll give you some information about these also. So Peace and Calming is a blend that's got a lot of citrus oils in it. It's great for stress. It's great for sleep. A lot of animals like this. So this would be another one. And then I don't have it with me today, but for big, like what she's talking about really panic attack, like freaking out over thunder, the next step up would be an oil blend called Trauma Life. So Trauma Life is one that I think everybody should have in their medicine cabinet because it's great for big stress, grief, shock, things like that. So that's what your dog needs. Yeah, absolutely. And there was one more question in the back. Okay, great question. They're all great questions. Do they expire? So King Tut's tomb was opened after, 3,000 years? He still had, there were vials of oil that were still viable in there. So your oils will outlast you. They will outlast you. But again, with the sort of safety and precautions and things, when you use your oils, put the top back on and screw it on tightly because the oils evaporate in the air. So put the top back on. You also don't want to put it directly in the sun. Keep them in a cool, dark place. You could refrigerate them if you want to, but you don't have to. The citrus oils, so lemon, which we can pass around next. We have lemon, tangerine, orange, grapefruit, and a blend called Citrus Fresh. The citrus oils are not steam distilled. They are cold pressed from the rinds. So they're made a little differently. So those will, I'd say, a year or so. And if they ever smell weird, then don't use them. This is lemon. We're going to pass that around. Okay. So thank you. Great questions. All right. Now, the first time I used an essential oil with a raw food, I was making cacao mousse, so raw chocolate mousse. And it had almond milk that I had made, almond butter, cacao. What else was in there? It's in Alyssa Cohen's book. And of course, we all changed the recipes a little bit. Avocado was in there. You've all probably either tasted or made or played with some version of a cacao mousse or a carob mousse or something like that. So I tried it. It tasted really good. And all of a sudden, I just got this needs peppermint. It just absolutely needs peppermint. So we're going to pass the peppermint around, too. This is one of my favorites. Of course, I love them all. So I added a few drops of peppermint, and I'm telling you, it took the cacao mousse over the moon. Just took it to a whole nother level. Just amazing. I added maybe 2 drops of peppermint to the entire recipe. Now I probably put in 4 drops. It changed it. It made it so much better. It made it so exciting. And as I tasted it, it's like your body just starts saying, oh, this is really good. And then you feel good afterwards. You're doing all sorts of wonderful things for your body when you're ingesting the oils. So like peppermint in the cacao mousse, it's working on your digestion. It's helping with mental clarity. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's doing all sorts of wonderful things for you. So you're getting all this healing power with the oils, with this magic alchemy of the tastes. So You like the cacao mousse, right? What could he say, right? All right. So, so I'd like to talk a little bit. This is the. Did everybody get to smell the lavender? No, we'll figure this out. All right. We'll figure out later which cap goes with which bottle. Okay. So, in playing with the oils and raw foods, there are lots and lots of different ways that you can do this. There's no right or wrong way. But I have found I really like putting the oils in water. So no more naked water. Always have oils in your water. So it's boosting the frequency of the water. It's making it more alkaline. It's wonderful. So in something like this, if I were using lemon, I might put 2 drops. Probably 4 drops. With peppermint, I might do 1 or 2. I really like peppermint, so I'd probably go with 2. And so I always have oils in my water, generally peppermint. And it's digestion, it's mental clarity, it's all sorts of things that you're getting. So the culinary oils on the sheet that I gave you, you have a list of them. And I've got some of them here. But there are lots of them that you can use. So, like if you think of Italian spices, we have an oil of oregano, we have basil, we have thyme, we have marjoram. Those are all sort of the Italian spices. So you might put those in marinades, or in like a marinara sauce, or in a salad dressing, or something like that. Okay? We have all the citrus oils, which I mentioned before, of lemon, tangerine, orange, and grapefruit. You could put those in your water. Those are great to flavor like smoothies and sort of more desserts and puddings and things like that. We have a blend called Citrus Fresh. This has got all the citrus oils plus a little bit of spearmint. I'm going to pass this around. And if you like it, you can, and if you have water with you, you can put 1 drop in your water. So I'm going to show you with lemon.
Is that when cold pressed as well?
Yes. Okay. I'm using the bottle of lemon just to demonstrate how to get the oils out of the bottle. So you don't need to shake it like crazy. You don't need to turn it all the way upside down. You know, it's simple. You take the top off, you tip it at about 45 degrees, and just wait for a drop to come out. Simple as that. Don't touch the top of the bottle because if it's your own bottle, you can do whatever you want. But you don't want to contaminate it with any dirt or whatever from your hands. So now that I have this drop of lemon in my hand, I'm just showing you with lemon. This is a great antimicrobial. So I'm just rubbing my hands, and I've got an instant waterless hand purifier in lemon. And my hands feel, it's not greasy, it's not oily, it gets absorbed instantly. My hands are now disinfected. Whenever you use the oils, you always want to take a deep, deep breath. Okay? So, pardon? Absolutely, you can use them on your face. Just keep them away from your eyes. So this is the Citrus Fresh. So pass this around. If you would like to put it in your water, take 1 drop. Everybody's going to grab water. The Citrus Fresh, I found this is a wonderful, wonderful blend to add into puddings, ice creams, smoothies. It's the citrus with a little hint of spearmint, and it's a phenomenal, phenomenal blend. So I've made all sorts of puddings with fruit and avocados, and I do a mango cucumber soup and all sorts of different things like that. I made a cherimoya pudding. Sherry came to visit our house, and I made her cherimoya pudding, which is one of her favorite fruits. David Wolf came up with this recipe. 2 cherimoyas, 1 avocado, put it together in a blender. It's outrageous. It's one of those raw food alchemy things. And I had never tried a cherimoya before. A cherimoya, it's in Southern California a lot. I now live in Santa Barbara, so you can get them they're not in season right now, but it's a green ugly thing, and inside it's this white pudding. It's amazing. It's really good. Sorta. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little more tropical.
Which essential oil did you use?
I put in citrus fresh, which is wonderful. So I'm finding adding citrus fresh to things just makes this, it pulls this flavor dynamic together that's amazing, and it pulls the flavor out of what you're using it with. So it's pretty amazing. So those of you who have tried it, do you like it? Okay, so see her face? She's having a little melt me response over here. She's got that goofy grin. You can put peppermint in, sure. It's just do 1 drop. It's going to be really strong. Okay, so another thing that I really like to do with the oils is put them in the soaking water for nuts. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. We can pass this around. Yeah. Glenn's like, get to the food. Okay. These are, excuse the presentation, no points for plating here, but anyway, it travels well. So these are pecans that are soaked with, it's 2 cups of pecans. It's on your paper, the handout sheet. It's 2 cups of pecans soaked in 4 cups of water, or whatever your container holds, 2 drops of cinnamon oil. That's it. And then I soak them overnight. So as the pecans are absorbing the water, they're absorbing the cinnamon. It is amazing. My brother tasted them and he said, you've taken nuts to like a whole new level. Like, just so look at all their faces as they're tasting them. They're like, whoa. And then the sweetener, there's just a little bit of yacon syrup on there and a little bit of Himalayan salt and a sprinkle of powdered cinnamon after they're soaked. So you'll taste, it's just, there's this rich cinnamon taste in those pecans that you can't get unless you soak them in the cinnamon oil. So it's just amazing. Everybody likes it, right?
Did you dehydrate them afterwards?
Yes. Did you get, yes. Sure, absolutely. You could just eat them, just soak them in cinnamon and eat them as is. Yeah, it'd be great. You could definitely do that. All right, so I also have, these are fennel sauerkraut flax crackers. So I wanted to bring some samples just so you could, we're raw foodies. We have to play with the food and taste it, right? So if these are too big, just break them in half. All right, we'll start right there. So the sauerkraut flax crackers, it's sauerkraut that I made. Come to Living Light and you'll learn how to make sauerkraut. And the flax, I soaked it overnight with fennel essential oil in the water. And then you pour all of that together. You put that in a food processor with sauerkraut, mix it all together, put it out on a Teflex sheet for your dehydrator. And if you don't have a dehydrator, get over it and get one. Just get one, believe me. And get the 9 tray and only get the Excalibur. So again, it adds a whole different flavor dynamic when the flax is soaked with the essential oil. And then as you're mixing it up, you can add lemon essential oil, you could add more fennel, you could add dill essential oil, anything that you wanted to do. Okay?
Those pecans also have the cinnamon powder in them?
Yes, there's a little sprinkle after I soak them and then rinse them and then add a little bit of salt and cinnamon, just a sprinkle of it. Okay. Yes.
Use them in cultured vegetables, like while you're culturing?
Yes. The sauerkraut that is in those crackers had lemon essential oil in the culture. I think when I do it again, I would either use dill essential oil in the sauerkraut as it's culturing, or ginger essential oil, or fennel essential oil. Okay? So, here's my assignment for all of you. I am going to be writing a book called The Essence of Raw, the title of this talk, The Essence of Raw, combining the culinary arts of raw foods with the ancient wisdom of essential oils. So I need all of you to play with this and come up with recipes, because it's going to absolutely be a collaborative cookbook or non-cookbook. So just play with it, have fun with it, add it to soups, puddings, smoothies, anything that you're making, you can add essential oils to them. Okay? So, any questions? Yes?
Which oils would you use if you were a massage therapist, and where would you put them? Just where on the body would you use them?
Okay. Which oils would you use if you were a massage therapist, and where on the body would you put them? So, in this everyday kit, there's an oil called Valor, which is very grounding and it's aligning to the body. It's called a chiropractor in a bottle. Putting Valor on your feet is a great way to start the day. And that's a great way for any massage therapist to start a massage. And then you can, for using them on yourself or with clients, if you're a massage therapist, you can put them in your massage oil and then use that. Oh, we have to pass these around again. Nobody took enough.
Thank you guys for saving us.
Cinnamon powder you use, what brand? Does it matter?
I think it's Organic Frontier. It doesn't matter. Make it organic. Yeah. So if you want more pecans, we're passing it. Everybody was so polite and just took one. You can take a few more if you want. Okay. So, any other questions? Yes.
Making your own almond milk and soaking the almonds.
Excellent question. So, when I do, one of my favorite things for almond milk is to, now that I'm using the oils, I'm putting them in with everything. So when I'm soaking the almonds, I like to add nutmeg essential oil to the water and soak it with that. You could do cinnamon, you could do clove, you could do ginger. Right now, I just love the way the nutmeg tastes with it. And then when I make, so I soak the almonds with nutmeg oil in it. Then when I make the almond milk, I'm tasting it and I may add more nutmeg, or at that point I may add cinnamon, or there's a blend called Thieves that's got cinnamon, clove, lemon, and rosemary in it. Thieves is an amazing blend, and you can add this to food also. Okay? So play with it, try it. And you might like something that I don't, and a different nut might call for a different kind of an oil. And it also depends if you want something sweet or savory. If you're doing like a pate with maybe cashews or mac nuts or pine nuts, those softer nuts, you might find you want to soak them with rosemary. I've been doing a lot with rosemary and black pepper. There's something magical with those two oils. And lemongrass is a really good one. Yes? Thieves, I'll pass this around so everybody can smell it. Cinnamon, clove, lemon, rosemary, and eucalyptus. And this morning, Martine, who's one of the chefs here and the teachers at Living Light, she did a demo. Did anyone see her demo this morning? Okay. I wasn't here yet, but she used Thieves, right? And what did she make with it?
That was a pinto, right? Yeah, it was like a cookie.
Ooh. And she had the Thieves oil in it? I'm going to have to track her down and get that recipe. Yeah, that'll be in the cookbook, I promise you. Absolutely. Okay. Did that answer the question? Yes. Whoever just, yes. Okay.
Do you feel it's true that we're drawn to what we need?
Okay, are we drawn to what we need? I would say yes. So I think if you're smelling the oils and they smell really, really good to you, then pay attention to that and use those oils. And there could be something going on emotionally with you that a certain oil is going to support. There may be something going on internally, subclinically with your body that your body knows about, but your brain hasn't gotten there. It's not full consciousness, and your body's saying, I need Thieves to boost my immune system. And so listen to that. Our bodies have such intuitive wisdom, and it changes. It changes over time. It changes with the seasons. It changes with your age, stress, where you are geographically. Thank you, Chef Teton. Okay, other questions? And then we're going to wind up here. Yes?
Support for adrenals.
Support for adrenals. There's a blend called Energy, ENRGEE, and that's a great one that's support for adrenals. And also just looking at what are we doing that stresses us, and anything that's highly acidic, caffeine, meat, pharmaceutical meds, those are all going to weaken our adrenals. Sleep, not getting enough sleep, staying up too late, all of that. But energy would be great, and valor on your feet. Yes?
I'm wondering, like, the specifics of all of them, like what they're best for. So is there any way of finding that out, or
Of course. Is there any way to find out? No, you have to guess. All right. Downstairs, when we finish up here and I go downstairs, I have a book called The Reference Guide. We call it the Oil Bible. It's a coil-bound book. You can buy it today from me. It's $26. It lists all of the oils, what they're used for, French medicinal uses, historic, and then in the back you can look up different issues like adrenals or colds or flus or whatever, and it'll give you suggestions of oils to use for that, okay? And then, and thank you, that's a great question. So I also have some brochures that I'll have downstairs, and I've got some little cards that's got some little information, so come down to that table. I'll also have the other oils down there that you can sniff. If you would like to get the oils, they're carrying some of them in the marketplace downstairs, so do a run on the marketplace, buy the oils that they have there. I know they have Thieves, lemon, lavender, citrus fresh, some other oils down there in the marketplace, right behind the cash register. Also, if you'd like to get more than that, or you want to get the kit, then see me about ordering them, and we can order them for you. Okay? And we can talk about that more. Yes? Sorry, yes, question.
I wanted to ask about whether they stain cloth, like if you wanted to put some lavender oil on your clothes.
Okay, do they stain cloth? Not like the Valor that I mentioned before, that's the chiropractor in the bottle. Okay, that 10 minutes went in 5 minutes, but that's okay. Thank you. The Valor has blue tansy. It's good. The Valor has blue tansy in it, so that would probably stain. What you might want to do is get a little spray bottle, add some lavender to that and spray, or just put it on you. Okay. One more question.
My niece's fibromyalgia and is in a lot of pain from that joint pain. Is there
Okay.
anything?
So joint pain. Absolutely. There are lots of oils that are anti-inflammatory. In this kit, there's a wonderful blend called Panaway that is phenomenal for any kind of joint pain, any kind of pain whatsoever, from bruises to broken bones to fibromyalgia, anything in between. The Panaway is wonderful.
How would you use it?
We'll talk about that afterwards. Okay. So thank you all so much. Come see me downstairs. Thank you.